going on, everyone? Welcome to a new video. In today's video, I want to talk about, well, what's parked right in front of me, actually. That being my new car. That's a little bit of a joke. I've had this car for almost 6 months, but I haven't gotten around to making any long-form content on it quite yet. It's all changing today. I have been doing some short-form stuff over on TikTok and Instagram. I'll leave both of those somewhere up here, and you guys can, check me out over there if you haven't already. But enough talking. Let's flip the camera around and focus on what's really important here. Now, this right here is my new to me for the last 6 months F82 M4, painted in a stunning Yas Marina blue over full Sakhir orange interior. But the options is not, or the spec is not really what's important here. What's actually important is how it drives, how it's changed my life, and what else I've done to it and my plans for it in the future. In a short minute here, we'll hop in, take it for a drive, head to one of my favorite local coffee shops, and I'll tell you really how this car, and owning this car at such a young age, has changed my life. I genuinely believe that if you can, afford your dream car young, I think it's absolutely a good idea to go ahead and do so. I know not everyone is able to do something like that. I'm very grateful for the opportunity I've been in. I know that not everyone gets this chance, but I do want to talk about how doing so changed my life for the better. So enough talking, let's just hop in and drive. Wow, every time I get in this car, it always feels special. Now I have done a few things to kind of wake the car up a little bit, because I think the car needs a few modifications just to get it, up and running. I think the stock exhaust sounds pretty decent, but I went ahead and put a VRSF single mid-pipe on here to really kind of wake it up. And I think right now, ideally, is the perfect exhaust setup for this car. I think it sounds, loud, it sounds aggressive, but it doesn't sound super raspy like this engine is known to sound. And I think right now is the perfect, exhaust pitch. Eventually, I will probably put catless downpipes. I am still running stock cats as of right now. But it is something I want to look into in the future. But as of right now, not really my biggest concern. I will probably do lowering springs and spacers next. But I think right now the car is sitting pretty happy. And I have some other little stuff. I have a front lip, and I put on the LCI tails, as this is a pre-LCI car. This is 2016, so I put on the LCI tails. And I have some, I have a new rear diffuser coming in soon, with some rear spats and exhaust tips, just little cosmetic things just to kind of spice up the way the car looks a little bit. But those are pretty decent pops for a car that's not tuned. I believe I'm still running a stock tune, so not only does it sound great, looks good with the spec. When I was looking for the car, my idea was, if I went for a kind of classy spec, I wanted like a Silverstone over Silverstone car, or a Silverstone over tan, something like that. And if I wanted to go for a bold spec, I wanted to be bold as possible. So when I saw this car come through, I absolutely knew, I fell in love with it instantly, basically. But I'm absolutely thrilled with how this car, has treated me, how it drives, the practicality of it. I mean, this transmission just slams you into the next gear. When you're at the top of the rev range with the DCT, you have your transmission settings set to the most aggressive shift modes. It really forces you in. it wakes up the car a little bit, not to the point where you'll crash. So you can kind of be a little more careless with it. It'll still catch you if it feels it's slipping out too much, but it will allow the rear to get a little bit squirrely, which is fun. Every single time I drive this car, it's such a thrilling experience. And I think that's a good way to put it, is, you know, everyone talks about how the E46 might be the most beautiful car, or the most beautiful M car. The E92 might be the most special with its V8, the only V8 M3. You know, the G80 might be the most best-selling, best-performing car. But the F80, the F8X generation, I kind of consider them all the same car. The M3 and the M4 are the same car. That's incredible to me. For the value that this car provides, you know, considering you can find them in the 30s, 40s, I think that this car is such an immense value for its money. It drives so well. The F80 is really the F80, F82, whatever you want to call it, right? Like I said, same car. It provides such a unique dynamic balance between the raw and the modern, you know, side of BMW, right? The older cars were so driver focused, so engaging, so raw. The new cars are a little bit too soft. They're too easy to drive. They're just point and shoot. But the F8X is like that perfect, you know, modern blend. You get the best of all worlds. You get the best of both worlds. You have the modern features, the heads-up display and the modern traction, the safety, and, you know, the ease of use still comes with it, the ease of daily driving. I've had my fair share of experience with the G80s and the G82s and the G87s, but nothing feels quite like this. And I've spoken to many G80 owners who agree, even though they love their car. And I love the G82. I think it drives well. It feels fast. It's, you know, feels way faster than this car for sure, and you can tell that it's more dynamically, you know, balanced and better in basically every performance metric. But wow, this car delivers a feeling of connection that the G80 just doesn't, and I think that it has the perfect driver-focused cockpit. I like how it has a blend of the analog gauges, the analog speedometer, but you still have that digital touch with the heads-up display and the screen, and you have the screen on the bottom that shows you different information, right? I think it's it's that mating point. It's right with the ease of technology and the rawness of and dynamics of the old BMWs, boom, mashed into one car. You still maintain, you know, engaging steering, you know, engaging throttle input. The car feels like it's very responsive and very accurate to however much throttle you're putting down. It's still a little bit scary to drive at times. It's not so easy, but it's easy enough to be daily drivable. It sounds incredible, right, once you put the right exhaust setup on it, and you can make these cars look amazing. I think they already look like, when I think of BMW, I think of the F8X, right? Like, F8X was such a bold statement from BMW, and I think that they really nailed the design with this generation. But let's go ahead, park up. Wow, I love this car. Let's go ahead, park up, and talk about how this car changed my life, because, again, I really firmly believe that it did. Iced tiramisu latte from Heritage Coffee. Incredible. Alright. Let's talk about a couple important things. Number one, how did this car change my life? Well, I think that this car changed my life in a way that I really did not expect it to. I always thought, having my dream car and having a car I always wanted would, make me happy because I could go drive it every day. And I thought it would make me happy because so many people would think I was cool and, all this stuff that really does not matter and, really does not happen. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like every time I take the car out that I'm ripping it and I'm flying down every road and highway and always in Sport Plus. No, sometimes I drive the car in efficient and automatic shifting and I'm just chilling and cruising, wherever I need to go. On rare occasions, when a road like this opens up and you have a couple twisty turnies and you downshift a second, just listen to this. Listen to these pops. It's fun to drive the car like that, but it's always nice to be able to swap it into quiet mode and drive it regularly. Now, as I was saying, I'm not always driving the car like that, and I didn't always expect the things that happened to happen. What I mean by that is this car has opened up so many cool opportunities for me to meet so many cool people. A lot of my closest friends today happened because I had this car. Now, granted, sure, you can meet people anywhere. You can meet, make friends with anybody, right? But when you're someone who's so passionate about cars, it becomes hard to connect with car people when you yourself are not driving something that you can be proud of. And because I am absolutely proud of this vehicle, I'm absolutely proud of the fact that I work hard to be able to have this car. It makes it easy for me to go to car meets and talk to others about it and, connect with others about it. And that's how I made some of my closest friends nowadays. That's how I made some of the most valuable connections I have nowadays, through this car. Another thing is, when you're someone that loves cars the way I do, having a car that constantly pushes you to work harder and constantly, you're always looking for what's the next thing I can do to the car, what's the next thing I can do to upgrade the car, and eventually you start setting your sights on a newer car, another car. Maybe you're not the type of person to swap cars. Maybe you like to have one car and then add to a collection. Whatever it may be, having a car that you're passionate about keeps your mindset shifted in a way where you're always looking to improve. You're always looking to work harder to be able to afford the next thing, and you're always going to be looking for ways to improve. And that will, I think, carry on into your overall lifestyle. When you're dedicated to something like this, you never want to downgrade, right? So I think that having a car like this gives such a valuable mindset shift, and once you have something like it, you're never going to want to step down. The worst feeling is having what you wanted at one point and then having to take it away from yourself, or having it taken away from you against your will, and then having to rebuild. And no one wants to have to take one step forward, two steps back, right? And this, I think, is a good way to keep you motivated, keep you working hard, keep you locked in. And I think that's definitely something that is valuable and is important, and is something that especially young people need nowadays. I think for a lot of people, being able to say they achieved their goal is such an important thing when there's so many things going on, you know, in this generation that makes people feel like they're unfulfilled or they're, you know, not enough or they're letting themselves down. I think if you are someone who has an interest in cars, that if you can make the push to be able to afford your dream car, even if you kind of have to stretch it a little bit, it all ties back into the whole mindset thing, right? Like, if you have to stretch it to be able to afford your car, then that's not necessarily a bad thing if you're in a position to be able to do so. If you have to budget extremely hard to be able to afford it, then you're going to be forced to work harder to achieve a level of comfort where you're not constantly stressed out. That automatically makes you build yourself a better life, just as a consequence of having to be able to afford the car. Now, another question people may have is, what do you do to be able to afford this car at a young age? You know, it's not a ridiculously expensive car, but it's also not a cheap car by any means. And I would be lying if I said this was my dream car. Obviously, it's an amazing car, and it's a dream to be able to own it at this age, but is it really my dream car? No, I think that would definitely go to something a lot crazier, like a 458 Speciale or something like that. But this is definitely a dream to be able to afford at this age. Now, what did I do to be able to afford this car? To be honest with you, nothing really special, you know? People talk about, did you start a business? Did you, you know, work a really hard job? And to be completely honest, not entirely. I mean, I'm very grateful to be in this position where, you know, my parents don't really need to rely on me. You know, I don't need to help anyone out. You know, basically all the money I make is my money that I can do whatever I want with. I'm supported in any necessary way. And I understand that's an opportunity that not a lot of people have. So even saying that, oh, you should get your dream car at a young age is a very privileged statement. I understand that. And, you know, I know that it's not something it's something easier said than done for a lot of people. But what I did to afford this car was I actually worked at a BMW dealership. I have family who's worked in the automotive field, you know, or in I guess that space, right, like dealerships and all that stuff. I wanted to give it a try because I loved cars and wanted to work around them. And I love BMW, so it kind of just made sense. So I applied at a BMW dealership, and I was lucky enough to get the job. And I worked as a product specialist for a little under a year. And throughout that time, I was making $17 an hour, so probably about $3,000 a month. And I saw this car come in through our inventory, and I was able to get it at an employee discount, and I remember seeing it come in and sitting in it and taking it on little test drives around our lot, and you know, just I would spend any free time I had basically just getting in this car, sitting down and imagining like I owned it. And eventually, you know, I had my dad come in and look at it, and he was like, yeah, I mean, if this is what you like, you know, if they give us a good price on it, then we'll take a look. And so the deal was pretty much whatever I put as the down payment, my dad was going to match it. After that, insurance, gas, car payment, all on me. So I remember I was making like $2,800 to $3,000 a month. The car was costing me like probably $1,500 a month to be able to afford, with my car payment and my insurance and my gas that I was spending. I was just like, you know what, this is a necessary sacrifice. I'm willing to spend most of my check if that means I get to drive my dream car every single day. And like I said, not an opportunity most people get to, you know, take advantage of. They gave us a good discount. My dad agreed on the numbers, made it happen. And I'm eternally grateful that I get to drive this every day. I'm gonna go continue to rip this thing around, and I hope to create a lot more content with it in the future. Expect some new videos soon, show you guys what I get up to, whether it be with my cars or with supercars or, you know, reviews or whatever. I'm excited to, you know, start pushing out some long form content. I'm gonna end it off there for today. Thank you for sticking around. I will catch you the next video.